All right, sorry about that. We're back. So continue on going. It says, what is GMS's breakdown for Revelation 6 or 6? It says, if you are referring to Great Muslims' GMS interpretation of Revelation 6 or 6, their breakdown generally follows their broader end time teaching. Revelation 6 or 6, it says, KJV, I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts, a measure of wheat for a penny, which, what is that talking about? Okay, a famine. Okay, scarcity of food. All right, scarcity of food. It's like I'm tired, man. I'm gonna hurry up and get this done though. It says 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, so it's representing what more for less. Okay, a day's wage. Okay, so it's gonna be a day's wage for a piece of bread. Okay, and then it says and 3 measures of barley for a penny, representing what more for less. Sorry, less for more. Salakia. That's reversed. More money for less goods. Less goods for more money. A typical GMS interpretation is a measure of wheat for a penny. They interpret that a severe inflation and famine during the last days, which it is going to be what is known as a hyperinflation. So it's talking about hyperinflation. According to GMS interpretation, yes, they are generally understanding Revelation 6 or 5 and 6 as describing conditions that include extreme inflation along with famines, food, and rationing. A penny, Greek denarius, represents about a full day's wage in the first century Rome world. A measure of wheat is understood as roughly enough grain to feed one person for a day. So if an entire day's wage only buys one day's worth of food, purchasing power has collapsed. Exactly. And the balanced scale suggests food is being weighed and rationed because it is scarce. Well, the scales represents what us going to slavery, zygos, right? Or us being judged and going to slavery, right? Hyperinflation. From that, GMS concludes this passage points to hyperinflation or very severe food inflation, shortages of staple foods, rationing, and widespread famines. That said, some biblical scholars emphasize that the passage may be describing scarcity rather than inflation alone, which, no, it's talking about inflation. And you can see that inflation actually happening. You just look at the gas prices. Okay, and how are they, okay, having it to where it's what a day's wage for a gas price or more money for less gas is why? Because they're cutting the gas. Okay, they're cutting the gas with a little water. Okay, ethanol E15. Okay, they're cutting the gas, getting what less and less of what you pay for. Okay, it's gonna be the same thing. They're gonna try to find shorter ways to give people more food. Okay, probably see a lot of people probably eating a lot of canned goods. Well, I'll tell you what, when I was working at Ingles, people would come in there and they would buy fucking bucket loads of mackerel and tuna because that's fairly cheap, and salmon, right? That is that I was just showing me, okay, what how bad it's gonna get, okay, how bad it's actually going to get. Okay, it says from that, GMS concludes that the passage points to hyperinflation or very severe food price inflation. That said, some biblical scholars emphasize that. It says, so in GMS teaching, yes, they see it as describing a future period of extreme high food prices consisting with economic collapse. More broadly, the passage portrays a combination of scarcity, famine, rationing, and economic hardships with inflated prices as one consequence. So what is the consequence? Let's see. So what is the consequence with this collapse? Because it's going to talk about the chip. I got to talk about chip earlier. What comes after the famine? No. Does the famine come with the MOTB? According to GMS teaching, yes, they generally place the famine and the implementation of the mark of the beast in the same general end time period, though they do not usually teach that they are exactly the same event, which it's not. Right? Because Esau is going to use this famine to really draw people out to get the chip, okay, through this new system that he's putting up. And best believe, okay, there's going to be, this nigga's about to drop this chip, bro. You can feel it. Their typical sequences is approximately economic instability and collapse begin. Food shortages, inflation, and famine. Governments tightening economic control, the mark of the beast, which GMS identifies as a literal microchip implant, is prompted or enforced, and it is. People who refuse a chip are unable to buy or sell based on their interpretation of Revelation 13 verse 16, which exactly it says. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, Revelation 13 verse 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, that no man might buy or sell, say he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's wisdom, let him have understanding, count the number of the beast, or his number of the man, for his number is 636.6, which that man is who? Esau Edom, the so-called white man, because Esau Edom is going to push his chip, okay? And you're going to need this chip to buy and sell, or else you're going to be excluded from society. This contributes to even greater hardships for those who refuse it, especially during famine and shortages. The judgment continues, leading into later events of Revelation. So, what happens to those who don't take the chip? According to GMS interpretations, those who refuse what they identify as the mark of the beast, which they teach is the literal chip, which it is, will face severe hardship, but they also teach that Yahweh Bahashim Shai will ultimately preserve his faithful people. They commonly point to Revelation 13:16. Okay, yeah, we just went into that. Difficulty obtaining food and other necessities, being excluded from normal economy, persecution by government authorities. And that's what's going to happen. Arrested, imprisonment, or even executed for some believers. My servant shall eat. Psalm 37:19. In the days of famine, thou shalt be satisfied. Revelation 20, verse 4, describing the people who were killed exactly because they got well beheaded. Okay, so I just want to see what the chat had to say about Revelations 6 and 6. I've seen it earlier, and the idea came to my mind, okay, to do this video, through the spirit. I hope it was edifying. I hope it answered questions, okay, Akshin had. What is chat's look on Revelation 6 and 6? I'll say Revelation 5, 6 through 6, because really, yeah, that's what I went into, okay? The Zygos, and then also, the family. But then I would say, Shalom, and Koholo, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakadash, and Lord willing, that it was edifying.